Yo, what's happening with what's happening?
Welcome to What's Happening. I'm Brad.
I'm Fred.
It's the show we talk about what's happening. What's happening with you, bro?
Not much, bro. Just just maintaining right now, man. Ain't got too much going on. Work, picking up, back to school time. You in the moving business. Is folks needing trucks all over the place. Folks just moving regular. Back to school, different projects. People building up and whatnot. So you got folks moving to different cities. So it's just been real work heavy lately, for real. What's good with you though?
Yeah, you probably gotta I never thought about it like that. You probably gotta move people into like their college dorms and whatnot, or maybe their apartments.
Negative, Ghostwriter. I ain't putting my hands on nobody's stuff. Do you hear me? I ain't.
You know what I mean, dog. Come on, don't do me like that.
I ain't got no parts in none of that. Matter of fact, don't call me because I can't get you no discount. I can't guarantee you no truck. I mean, I can reserve you one for your day and time, but somebody will call and schedule that with you. But yeah. ain't none of that, bro. I tell you what, if you a small business and you looking to help add a little more to your bottom line with no out-of-pocket costs, and you want to become a U-Haul dealer, holler at your boy. I'll tell you how that go down. You know what I mean? They pay you to facilitate reservations, supply you with all the equipment, and they take out the cost out of your commission. So, it ain't really a bad idea.
Sounds like a hustle to me.
Hey, cancel at any time, no fee.
Hey, I like that. No, man, I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I just ended the work week. I'm off. Well, I'm off tomorrow. I got a little work event. It's work, but it's a charity event that I'm doing on Wednesday, so that's gonna be dope. But man, just it's kind of the same thing, and I'm trying to get myself organized for a trip. I got to go down to Memphis next month. Got to go check on Mom Dukes.
Yeah, I can dig it. Hey, no matter how far she go, always gonna go see.
Look here, I got to go.
Gotta
go see Hattnin with my mama, with my grandmother. Man, they're my elders. That's who I got left. I got to go check them out.
Indeed, family, everything.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking about family, since we're gonna talk on it, you know what I'm saying?
Segue.
Vince McMahon and left the company to his daughter. You know what I mean? They look like they out there trying to move pieces, trying to hide some things. Man, what's going on, bro? That's your world, so I'm gonna let you indulge on that first. But yeah.
All right. So first off, let me give a little bit of backstory. So about 2.5 months ago, we did an episode where we had Brittney. Shout out to Brittney from Unapologetically Black, Never Broken, Always Empowered, the longest podcast name in the world. But shout out to those guys over there. Brittney came over, and we had a discussion about, kind of some perceived racism within that organization and kind of the history and sexism, and it was just not great conversation to have, right? To feel like we had to have based on some things that have happened, right? About a month after that, some more drama creeped out of World Wrestling Entertainment, where the longtime owner and CEO and chairman of the board, Vince McMahon, came out that he paid out some hush money, that he was out there doing some extramarital consensual smashing.
Hey, the way you put that was just it's like you've been using that for a while.
Well, I guess it started off as consensual, and then it became very ugly, very not great. And then as time progressed, well, so that story came out.
Does it ever? I mean, like, it always starts out great, but it always ends up shitty.
Well, when that story first dropped, it was an office level talent. First off, the story came that she got hired in at $100,000 a year, and then suddenly her salary was raised to $200,000 a year. And then it was not great. And then she was paid $3 million to walk away and to not say anything. I guess her friend leaked the story to the Wall Street Journal, if I remember correctly. And if there's anybody in the comments that can correct me, feel free to do so as well. And by the way, we appreciate you folks for rocking with us live.
For sure.
I believe the story was leaked to the Wall Street Journal, not by the victim, but by a friend of the victim. And we don't know who that victim is. It was reportedly a paralegal. And then the board of directors, WWE is a publicly traded company. The board of directors began to investigate. While they were investigating, Vince McMahon stepped away from his role as CEO and as chairman of the board. So he stepped away from those duties. He was still just running the TV show product, just the creative. And then while that happened, turns out it was about 15 or 16 million over the last 16 years. I think that was the numbers, 15 million over the last 16 years. So he's been paying a lot of hush money for a lot of smashing over the better part of the last 2 decades. So fast forward to this past week on Friday. Stock markets closed at 4 p.m. And I just told you guys, if you didn't know, that WWE is a publicly traded company. Stock markets closed at 4 p.m. At 4:05 p.m., Vince McMahon tweets, "I'm 77 years old," and I'm paraphrasing. "I'm 77 years old. It's time to retire. Thanks for everything." So he waited until it was all said and done, like with the stock market, so people couldn't sell off and the company couldn't tank. Because, by the way, he is still the single majority shareholder of the company.
Yeah, it was like 30-something%.
Yeah, to be clear, he's the largest shareholder at 32%. He's not a majority, but he is the largest shareholder of the company.
Correct.
So he waited until the stock markets were closed, announced his retirement, gave the company a whole lot of time to get the news out. There's a new CEO, new president, new all of this, right? So, we kind of been talking about it just kind of back and forth in chat. But, now, what are your thoughts with this whole situation after it's come together and come to the light?
Well, first thing I want to say is, if there is any, let me not go there. Anyway, I might add it in at the end, but I know somebody's going to say that age is going to play the hugest factor in it. But, I mean, they giving out ridiculous numbers, so for crimes in this area. I just wonder if he get 30 years or, is that too excessive for him too? But nonetheless, to me, it sounds like a lot of people's known this has been going on. It's nothing new to his character. He's been using his family to hide it for years. So he's really just getting what's coming to him. And if you can't really see, lately, this is all that's been in the media. This is the biggest thing that you see going across the media. You know what I'm saying? Going out there, getting those folks that's, using, I guess, their status or their power to, have affairs or get with, women that they usually probably wouldn't be with or be messing with. So, I mean, essentially, he's getting what's coming to him. I can't say, that it's all fair. But in the same sense of things, I am kind of curious. Was it contractual for the $3 million to not say anything? And how does that work out if it was contractual to not be able to say anything, to walk away? For that to be leaked out means you said something. So, I'm wondering how that works, and will this become something that gets flipped on the victim.
So yeah, I that's a point that I hadn't thought about. So the only other, so it was an NDA. Obviously, the friend told someone, right? Obviously, the friend told her friend, and so she could. I could see a scenario. Here's the thing: Vince McMahon has a net worth of $2.2 billion with a B, billion.
Did not see that.
Yeah. So he has the capability to, should he decide to sue her. The court of law isn't necessarily about what's true and what's not true. It's about what you can prove, right? And when you have a net worth of $2.2 billion with the B, you can afford any kind of attorney that's out there. You know what I'm saying? So I could see a scenario where, should he decide to take her to court, he would win.
That's what I was wondering. You know what I mean? That's what kind of had me a little concerned with the situation, because not only like it's kind of weird as well, because I sent you something about behind the scenes guy. Let's just say that, because I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's one of those next top stakeholders. And I'm curious as well, is he really, or people really seeing him possibly quitting or stepping down because him and Stephanie McMahon don't get along? Or does he have something to do with, what happened?
Are you saying the co-CEO Nick Khan? I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that this morning. So they were named. So Nick Khan is this guy that like nobody knows. He came out of nowhere. He's helped them strike all sorts of deals and has greatly contributed to the company. He climbed up the ranks real fast, and he was the president of the company. So now he and Stephanie, which is Vince's daughter, are co-CEOs. I have to imagine a scenario where when Vince McMahon will be 77 years old next month.
Right.
I have to imagine a scenario that when Vince McMahon ultimately does pass away, and it might be a long time from now, because those McMahons live and they live and they live. But when he passes away, his shares of the company, he only has two children, his daughter Stephanie and his son Shane, right?
Yeah.
I have to imagine a scenario where his shares would go to the children, so that even though she might be co-CEO, if she has majority shares plus the shares that she has herself, she would be the not having. I could see a scenario. I don't know how many shares she has or what her percentage is worth, but I could see a scenario where she is not a plurality owner, but a majority owner of the company. So I think that even the title is co-CEO, I think she's good to go, because her daddy still owns the biggest piece of the company, and he's 77 years old.
So with that, there, there's talks about, because you mentioned it, their stock has went up. Not only did it go up, but they're thinking that the reason it went up is because there may be talks of selling it once everything has, settled, because they're talking about also that Vince McMahon has 2.2 million of not gonna say unclaimed, but basically payouts that wasn't spoken for in the initial report, and they're still waiting on some of these answers from some of the reports from, I think, like 2019, 2021, and
yeah, they have to. I saw that drop just a little bit ago. They've got to like rework some of their financial statements, because some of the ways that he spent money, it should have been marked as expenses, but it was marked as payments, something like that. They have to fix the reporting to be, legal and to be all up in the good with that. That's like beyond me. But like, and that's the part where it's getting weird, is because when this story first came out, he was using his own money in these NDAs. So why do they got to fix this corporate money that he spent suddenly? So like this might get bad. It might get crazy. It
Well,
already got crazy.
if they dig deep enough, I'm sure you're gonna find more people and more money. I mean, that's usually how it goes.
Well, because that's the thing. It was the board of directors said, "What is this? We got to investigate it." Now the SEC is investigating it as well,
Exactly.
because yeah, it's a major publicly traded corporation, and if he's misusing the public's money, yeah, it's about to be woo. It's about to get ugly.
Well, we may finish that at a later time when we get more details of that. But yeah, it was just interesting because there was a lot of moving pieces to it. So I think it's going to be hard to sort out as well. But at the same time, like you said, it can get ugly, it can get deep. You're probably gonna get more people to come out. Me Too movement is still in full effect and in charge. So,
well, and then so another thing that's been kind of like another thing that people have been talking about over the last 2 years, they always tend to do like these two big rounds of budget cuts. Like one is always seems to be like in the spring, shortly after WrestleMania. So like early to mid-April, you see a bunch of guys get cut, and then you typically see it again at some point in the fall as well. Now people might get cut just at any point, give for anything, but you typically see a big round of cuts around like 2 big points of the year. But like the last 2 years, it's been massive, crazy cuts. It kind of made sense when it happened in 2020 because that was COVID. They didn't have fans, so they weren't pulling, ticket sales and merchandise sales and things of that nature, right? So like that made sense, and then it just got weird. But then, so they created the WWE Network in 2014, where they just house like all of their shows and all of their production, not all, but like the super majority of it. And then all of their pay-per-views, instead of being on like, paying $49.99, $59.99 for the pay-per-view, you would just pay the $10 a month and you had access to every pay-per-view whenever they showed it live. It just didn't matter, right? They sold that network to Peacock, right? And if I remember correctly, Peacock bought it for like $2 billion. So instead of having your own network, you just get the Peacock app now, and then you got all your wrestling content there. So after they made that massive sale, that just happened just in early 2021, if memory serves me correctly. So when that happened, people are looking like, yo, like, why are all these people getting cut for budget cuts after you just sold this thing for $2.2 billion? And like, it just doesn't make sense. So then this story comes out, but this is what people, that's what I'm saying. This is a storyline. It starts to make sense that you're getting these massive pay cuts because of COVID, but then this massive multi-billion-dollar deal happens and you see more cuts happening behind it, and it doesn't make sense. Then the story comes out that people are getting cut, but he's literally shelling out money for NDAs. And then the story comes out that he's shelling out multiple million. I think it was either 4 women or 6 women over the last 16 years that he's paid NDAs to, up to like 15 million. A lot of money.
Yeah, buddy.
So more to come there, but
when you're a billionaire, you can afford them type of rendezvous, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you can afford it, but it ain't legal.
I mean, it ain't legal, but and that's one thing, you know what I'm saying? And cancel culture might hate us for this, or hate me.
And what? Hate you.
I forgot we always on 2 different sides of the coin with certain things, but if they knew what they were getting into, like I want to know, like, was this like some forced activity, or is this just just a bunch of blackmail activity? Like, because y'all know who he is, he's married, his family, the whole scope of things. So why is you really getting paid? Because you doing what essentially you wanted to do in the first place. What is really, you know what I mean? What's the incentive? You know what I'm saying? Like,
The NDA was for harassment, not to keep quiet about the cheating. Cheating is not illegal. It's amoral, but it's not illegal. It's not
exactly.
illegal.
Well, depending on where you at. You know what I mean? Because cheating could be, you know, in certain states is illegal.
Well, his company operates out of New York. It ain't illegal there for him to cheat.
So my thing is like, I mean, because me, truthfully, if I'm Vince, I ain't paying a motherfucking soul. Tell who you want to. You did it. I did it. We did it.
That's what I'm saying. Who cares about the cheating? I mean, I'm like, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying there, what I'm saying is, from a business perspective, the cheating simply doesn't matter. It's the harassment part that's problematic. And then so he's paying these NDAs to cover up the harassment. And this is kind of where, go ahead.
That's a fine line though. Where are you gonna come with harassment if this person is knowingly sleeping with this man? So are you saying he harassed you into sleeping with him? He harassed you out your drawers? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, that's not what I'm telling you. But see, you can't go that far because we don't know what happened.
Obviously, you're right.
Something happened where it went from being consensual to being harassment. And like where that happened, and this has obviously happened somewhere between 4 and 6 times. So it's something about his behavior where he gets in there, they give it up to him. He's an old man, but he's filthy, stinking rich. They get involved.
That's the generation. Everybody want a sugar daddy. I guarantee you right now, there's 100 more of us that's like, shit, they stupid.
But if it turns into harassment, that's the part where we can't.
I need more detail. I need more detail because
she signed an NDA. We're not going to get more details.
Then why did the cat get out the bag now? I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know,
because her friend snitched. Her friend snitched.
So she snitched. I mean, it had to leave her lips first in order for anybody to know. So therefore, she owe down. She owe down. You know what I mean? Like, she probably gonna get sued by the old man, by her sugar daddy, because she shouldn't have told her friend. She should have said, "Bitch, don't worry about it. I got this money because I was wrestling. That's it. That's all."
I'm not about to. I don't believe in cancel culture, but if it exists, you finna get canceled, and that's gonna be you. What Fred says does not represent the views of Brad Robinson
or what's happening.
What's happening? Media. None of that. Fred Scott represents the feelings and thoughts and opinions of Fred Scott, not Fred Scott Jr. Wait, not Fred Scott.
and I'm finna get a free promo too. You know what I'm saying? Because I you know. But hey, these little joints right here, they just hit the street. They Little Debbie Snickerdoodle cream pie. Fire. Hey, I had to throw that out there because you see me snacking on one here in a second.
You was not out here promoting cream pies after we just talked about MDAs. Come on, bro.
Hey, I had to though. Like
it took you a minute. Oh man.
See, this is what I got to deal with, y'all. Businesses do this when trying to buy a company, negotiate a deal down, oldest trick in the book. Well, I mean, Elijah, now that you say it, it sounds like that they might be up for sale. I heard the likes of Netflix and Amazon and a few other groups and buyers like that is interested in them. Their stock is up, so if you're looking for a payout or something that may be lucrative, you know, if you can catch the next dip, it may be worth it. Who knows? It may go up higher than this, depending on what all we find out here in the weeks and months to come.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's listen. We gonna find out. The SEC is tapping in to figure out what's going on in there. We gonna find out.
You gonna know.
It's gonna all come through. So, Brittney Griner. We touched on that after we did our Women Making History series. We touched on that briefly in the We did a bonus episode. She was arrested in Russia in February.
Yep.
She was caught with cannabis oil in the airport. She was on her way back to the States, presumably to get ready for the current WNBA season. She was arrested, and she has
I
since
thought
been
she was
arrested.
going over there to play.
Yeah, but she was over there to play, but she was on her way home when she got arrested.
Mm.
She was on her way home. She was
I misunderstood that. I thought she was, you know what I'm saying, just landing there.
no, she was trying to get back here. So she has been in jail the entire time. She's appeared in court. She has pled guilty, and she faces up to 10 years in prison.
Yo, that's wild sauce. Like, I mean, I guess, I don't know what they tell them or what they doing, but I'm not pleading no guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, this is more of just a governmental format for what they trying to work out. You know what I'm saying? I think they just caught a chance to try to use something as leverage. You know what I'm saying? Because see, other countries are smart. They're not dumb to America. They not, you know what I'm saying, like just out here just doing shit for no reason. They didn't keep her just on some, oh, you know, let's just keep her because she broke the law. You know what I'm saying? They kept her because they knew, you know what I'm saying, that they could play on the strings of people. She plays a small icon, you know what I'm saying, into what's over here, and then plus what's going on with the movement, you know what I mean, like for women's basketball and just women's rights and equality. Like I think that was just a big piece to it, but you know, they didn't do that for no reason. I'm pretty sure there's hundreds of folks that then went through with hashish oil and, you know what I'm saying, vape pens and whatnot. I think that was a strategic move once they caught the right person. You know what I mean? Maybe she did forget it because, you know, everybody say, oh, she didn't forgot it in her pants. But maybe she didn't did it 100 times like, you know, some people have.
So when we talked about this back in late March, early April, you're saying what I was saying then, but then you're like, no, it's probably deeper than that, bro. So what made you change your mind?
Because, you know, looking from a standpoint of what's going on, you know, the war that, you know, Ukraine and Russia been having, then they throwing people into play like arms dealers and, you know, different things. You just got to start looking at it for what it is and how long this have drawn out. You know, the people that they're starting to call on, like, you know how like they're almost like you look at it like a family thing, like, you know, like somebody get into a situation that may not always get in the situations or whatnot, and there's like a hierarchy that they know, like, okay, if it gets this bad, I'm calling so and so.
Mm-hmm.
Folks is calling upon folks that, you know what I'm saying, you don't call unless it's a 9/11, you know what I'm saying, situation. And so like when you start analyzing it from a standpoint of there, and then you look at different countries and the strategic moves they play, most countries is more strategic than it is anything. You know what I mean? I think we're the only country that really just run around willy-nilly, just like, it might work, it might not. You know what I mean? Like we just a little more carefree than most countries, and because we have the rights that has given us to be a little more carefree than other countries. So when you look at things like that, you got to say, I think this is more strategic. You know what I'm saying? This is outside of, you know what I'm saying, our control. And there's things that, you know, that we won't understand that's going into play into this. You know what I mean? When you got the government saying, hey, we're pulling every string we can to get her home. They ain't never had this much trouble trying to get nobody home from an incident overseas.
So to add some light to some of the points that you made, um, you were saying that you wouldn't have confessed, you wouldn't have pled guilty under no circumstances, basically. Excuse me.
Hell no.
I literally just read about 20 minutes before you and I got on air, an article from Fox News, and it was basically saying that her pleading guilty might actually speed along the process, and where what may happen is that she may get a guilty conviction, and then get time in prison, and then what'll happen is that it helps speed along the process because she pled guilty. It's not an elongated trial. Just get your conviction, and then they can work out a swap. They can work out the swap, get the, she'll spend some time in an American prison for whatever person they're going to give her, and then Biden can potentially. The article didn't say this, but ideally, what would happen is that she spend a little bit of time in prison here in the States, and then Biden at the end of 2024, if he somehow gets reelected in 2028, at the end of 2028, he would give her a pardon and let her go at that point.
Yeah, one, that's too risky for me. I don't know if I'm gonna take that risk because that's theoretical. It could go like that, but then again, you know what I'm saying? Putin's like, nah,
right,
stuck here on a guilty plea.
Now, the other part to your point, what you mentioned that they're talking about an arms dealer. I was listening to something maybe 2 weeks ago where
Bout or something.
Yeah, I forget his name, but this guy he's here in the prison somewhere in the States, and he was selling weapons to terrorists in like 2011, 2013, somewhere in that time frame. And Putin's like, yeah, give me him. So Biden's right now, he could let someone who sold weapons to terrorists, to known terrorists, he could let that person go.
But the thing is, we don't negotiate. As America, we're not going to negotiate for no terrorists. We're not going to give up no terrorists, from my understanding.
Right. Like that would be it'd be very atypical. But like that's what Putin wants right now.
He wouldn't get reelected in 24 for goddamn sure. He
got enough going against him. You add that to the top of the plate, boy.
What Gambino say? This is America. Try that shit if you want to. It'll be your last election, your last run, your last anything. You might as well just start going and play golf out the White House. It's over with.
I might as well go ahead and let you have it since we own it anyway. President Biden did get COVID.
President Biden did get COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What difference does that make for him?
Well, he's vaccinated, boosted, and I know you anti-vax and you don't believe in COVID, so I'm gonna let you go at it.
Listen.
Don't smile. Don't smile. That better be the goodness of that snickerdoodle cream pie. That better not be a happy smile for COVID.
This is the second one, so you know this motherfucker. But it's the third one.
Hey, little Debbie's, we need a check.
Hey, I'm telling you, because it's the third one. If we talking about the one I had before we went on air.
He's smacking this bad boy on video in front of 10,000 viewers.
I wouldn't care if it was. Listen, you know me, I ain't got no shame in my game, bro. Like, it could be America themselves. I wouldn't care. But when it comes to the whole vaccination thing and talking about any of that, I ain't even, like, my point's proven. We a year and some from COVID. If you catch it right now, they're going to give you, whether you vaccinated or not, 5 days till you get retested, and we just going to go on. It is now. You just basically caught a strand of the flu. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. We ain't tripping about the folks who ain't vaccinated no more. We ain't tripping about the folks who ain't wearing masks no more. So I don't care, you know what I'm saying, who got it, who didn't. My point was proven. It'll all go away. Everybody running around out here dramatic, like, oh, we we got to, like, we need to, you know, help one another and families, and kill me with that bullshit. Period. Everybody fine. We live in life. You know what I'm saying? Just face it. They talk y'all into going and getting a little, you know what I'm saying, extra juice to do nothing different. Your life didn't change. My life didn't change. With the juice or without it.
No, I'm a 100% disagree with you there. Because, I mean, I'm not going to put all the business out there, but, you know, my wife got COVID 3 months ago. It's still messing her up. And now these long COVID stories are really, really, really popping out. I was just talking to somebody on Friday. They got COVID early 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Still can't smell.
Here's my thing, though. Is your lady vaccinated?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know a lady that's vaccinated with boosters. She done caught it 4 times.
Yeah. We're not going to get into the vaccine mandate episode again. Good God. That was the hour 40 minutes.
All I'm saying is, at this point, it's a lot harder to prove the need of vaccination and boosters than it is to say, bro.
No,
we're not going to get into the conversation.
Well, we're not going.
Hey, listen, look, you might as well just let it go.
No,
because
I'm not gonna let that laugh. You're gonna say there's not a difference. You can look at the death rates between non-vaccinated and vaccinated. It's a stark difference.
Okay, that's what they tell you.
But wait. No. Because you can't say that's what they tell you and then say this is what's proven.
Listen, I'm going off of the people I know, the people I talk to.
Okay.
I ain't going off the.
You ain't going off the stats.
The mass numbers that they say that they've taken this from, because like we know from just the vaccination test, it was a lot of fakes of them. Folks sending in empty test kits, still coming back with got COVID.
I'm put it like this. I'm put it like this.
How?
You said you going off of what you hear and not off the data. Right? Yes. That's what you said, right? Okay, all right. As long as that's out there, we can move on to the next topic and not have this episode.
yeah, because you know, if it was by data, it'd be skewed and flawed anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Let's go.
So
anyway, I feel like that's a good segue. Don't know how, but watch how. But this segue to go in and talk about, you know, this Sesame Place and these, you know, views of people being racially mistreated, especially from a video I seen where they just high-fived, you know what I'm saying, a you know, African-American or colored person, or however you like to describe your brown people.
Colored person.
Hey, my uncle was like, colored, but yeah. Just high five the, you know, Caucasian person, and then just told these cute little, I think they were like 6 and 7-year-old girls, no, can't give you a high five. Yeah. For one, you're in a suit. You can't even get cooties, man. You can't get no germs. You can't get none of that. You in the suit. They're not finna give you no COVID. Hey, it's better than the mask. You got a full body 360 protection with a little screen over your nose.
Bro, you gotta stop that smacking though. The podcast was just gonna be mad as hell at you.
Like, dang, we're going down the road. But I'm just saying, real talk, like, what was the reason behind it? Here's my other thing. If that was Disney World, if that was the good Cedar of the Point, I ain't never worked for them folks, but the job, you know, detail and the stories that I hear, you can't even smile. I mean, not smile on camera. Get caught not smiling or having a pleasant day in this park.
No. That I can, as somebody who did work at Cedar Point for a very long time, I can tell you that would never happen there. They had But like they had a zero hate tolerance policy when I started there in 2005, back when, you know, most of the world wasn't caring about that. Like it was like no racism, no homophobia, no sexism, no harassment, nothing. If we hear about it, if we catch you, it's OVA for you. You out of here. Period. Point blank in a period. It wasn't gonna happen. So like at like Cedar Point would never happen. I mean, this was just how like you treat your coworkers, no less how you treat your guests.
Yes.
The people that are spending the money.
They'd have humiliated you at Cedar Point. You tried that with a guest.
Man.
It'd be you wouldn't. Hey, these folks in Pennsylvania wouldn't have to worry about asking for a resignation or a fire. Oh, they'd have got to see it live in color that day.
Yeah, and then so for those of you that maybe don't know all the full details of the story, Sesame Place, first off, it's not owned by Sesame Street or the parent company of Sesame Street, none of that. It's not affiliated. It's a licensing thing. Basically, the way that works is, you know, if you get Spider-Man to come to your kid's birthday, it's not Marvel Comics sending out Spider-Man. It's not Sony sending out Spider-Man. It's some dude with a suit that's got the rights to make money wearing that suit, right? That's what Sesame Place is. They have a license to, you know, dress up and be Sesame Street characters and things of that nature. So it's a park in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. I think it's in the Pittsburgh area. I don't know where it is exactly. I'd never heard of it before this. Rosita, the person that's in the Rosita costume, is high-fiving and hugging, you know, white children. The black kids come up, waves the finger off and says, no, and literally just, no, we don't want nothing to do with you, right? The problem is that this story hit the social media waves, and rather than addressing the issue, Sesame Place said, no, this isn't what happened. They can't see the children when they're in the costumes. I ain't wore too many costumes in my day.
But listen.
But I kind of feel like, no.
Bruh, the whole point of the costumes for the kids.
Exactly.
Ain't no adult there to see Rosita. For one, she ain't even no main character that most people remember growing up. You know what I'm saying? And right, because when you said, I'm like, who is that? That ain't no Big Bird. That ain't no Cookie Monster.
Big Bird, Bert, Ernie, Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar the Grouch. None of that.
That's about it for me.
For one, ain't nobody even come to see Rosita for you to have a stinking ass attitude and not even, you know what I'm saying, show the girls no attention. Number two, there's been folks been wearing costumes for years for kids' parties. That's about the most piss poor excuse you could ever use for an amusement park that is supposed to be there servicing the likelihood of creating childhood memories for little kids.
Yeah. I do remember that, you know, when I worked at Cedar Point, people would wear the different, you know, Peanuts characters costumes, and they would have someone with them to kind of like guide them because those suits are big and kind of awkward to walk in. So like when somebody's walking out as Charlie Brown, there's a person right with them holding their hand as Charlie Brown, and then they're in that dedicated spot to greet children, to hug children, things of that nature. But if you're in a costume where you can walk, it's because you can see. You're not in danger. You're not at risk of getting hurt. You're not at risk of walking into children, into other people, maybe in wheelchairs, maybe injured, whatever the case may be. Because if you couldn't see, you shouldn't be walking just aimlessly like that. It is a safety hazard, right?
Yeah.
So if your excuse is that they couldn't see, it's, so you just let them walk around not being able to see? Well, if they walk into it's an outside park, so it can rain. What if they walk into a drain or not a sewer? What if they walk into a bench? It's a park.
Anything. How do they even get back to their destination?
Exactly.
So next thing, when you have a male in a woman's restroom, I couldn't see. You know what I mean? But now, wait, hold on. That just worked for the last Johnny who didn't see the two black little girls. But now it don't work for me.
Right.
I knew good and well which sign I walked past, right?
Yeah,
That was just a blanket statement that was just quick and, okay, let us just try to save some face. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Now it's been blown up and they're going to have to make a real statement.
Yeah.
So how do you recant that statement and come back and say, well.
Yeah, and to me, it's a deeper conversation about racism. Like, there are people that have friends and family members and things and people that they know and that they associate with that say racist things. Oh, they're not really like that. They just have an old way of thinking or whatever kind of BS excuse, right? If you were this would not be a big story if Sesame Place would have said, we absolutely abhor, and this is why I say cancel culture doesn't exist. Because if Sesame Place would have come out and said, hey, this is not something that's allowed, we have terminated this employee, we greatly apologize to the family, we personally apologize to the family as well, this wouldn't be a story. It wouldn't be a big story. Maybe the video would have went viral anyway, but it would already be done and over with if Sesame Place would have apologized for it. That's why I say cancel culture doesn't exist. It's about how you handle it when your situation comes out.
Well, yeah, it's about the initial handling. You know what I mean? It's not if you handle it right there on the spot,
it's over with.
No one's gonna say nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But the fact that you try to sweep it under the rug is what creates the backlash.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because in the same token, like you said, if they would have came out and kind of said almost anything besides what they did say, you know what I'm saying? Like, and cause see, here's the thing that
even if they would have said we're conducting an investigation, like even if they would have said that,
listen, this person will not be working in costumes no more, whatnot. Because here's my thing, and yeah, we want people fired, whatnot, but I got a few different things, and now I'm one to quickly say, listen, people gonna say, well, that was that person's livelihood, they don't deserve it. They made a decision, they got to live with it. Bottom line, I don't care about it. You know what I mean? Because if I make a decision, if I lose my job, nobody gonna care because I made a decision that reflected or showed me in a different light that caused me to lose it. So I don't have no sympathy to that. But my thing is, in a situation like this, unless a person that works with him does a whistleblowing activity, you have no way of knowing who's behind that costume. So for them to say they fired the person or got rid of the individual, you will never truly know. As long as they're one employee shorter than what they was yesterday, problem was resolved. It could have been somebody who just showed up late for work or did their third no call, no show. You would never truly know. So therefore, in certain situations like that, you have to accept, that there may not be the exact outcome that you want out that situation. But in result, something needs to be done. You know what I mean? And truthfully, what should be done is shouldn't nobody visit the dang on park, you know what I'm saying, from now until next season. And maybe they would think about how that employee negatively reflected him. But we know that's far few in between and very hard to do. So,
well, no, I mean, you really saying that really just kind of crystallized it for me in a way that, I mean, we kind of talked about it, but it really just makes it plain. Any old Joe Schmo behind a mask or behind a costume, essentially, right? Yeah. So, to your point, they could have said this person has been terminated, and that could have not been true, right? But also, like, it's a person in a costume. You can replace that, no problem. You can replace that easily. Back to like my time working at Cedar Point, the person coming out as Charlie Brown, would be out there for 20 minutes as Charlie Brown to take a picture and hug your kids, go cool off, have to take off that hot costume, get a bottle of water in their system real quick, and they come back out and they would be Snoopy. Like, do the same thing for 20 minutes, come back out and be Lucy. So like, and then like Rosita ain't nobody. If you don't never see Rosita again, you're gonna be
ain't
like,
nobody gonna complain,
Rosita? Right?
Right.
So to make that just really crystallizes for me the effort that it takes to excuse racism versus getting rid of that person was the easy thing to do.
Way easy. But it's also easy to just sweep it under the rug and say sorry, shuffle things around because nobody, you know what I mean? And that's probably how we went back to the office. Hey, we just got a video of you the other day. You know what I'm saying? When you did this, we got it on camera. We're going to say this here. It'll be fine. We're probably going to move you to a different department. You'll be over games now. You know what I mean? And boom, case closed.
That's just,
and,
wow.
And you will never know. So things like that, you know what I'm saying, can be done. Just like, you know, on the vice versa end, you know, people, you know, do inappropriate things when they're in them costumes, and you never can pinpoint who it is. There's really no way. Even if you do an investigation, they got to tell another, you know, that whoever doing the investigation who's in that costume. They can say whoever they want. Whoever they want.
Yeah. Man, no, I mean, you really just like got my brain thinking of just like, I knew it was just like at first to me it was just stupid that they would just make an excuse, but like when I really think about the way you said it, it's actually kind of disgusting that they made that excuse. Not kind of, it is.
That's why I'm like, it's mind boggling to me because like I've been to Cedar Point, I've been to Disney, I've been to Six Flags. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in these parks, and it's not a notion that you need somebody to tell you or you need to have people that work inside. You can tell by the way they try to cater and do for you. This is, you know what I'm saying, the Chick-fil-A of a park. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have a choice. We must make sure you have a great day.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you go to your job and be like, you know, I don't feel like working today, so I'm going to half-ass it. And you get away with it. You don't, you know what I mean? You don't get away with it in them parks. It's like a big plantation for real. You know what I mean? Like, my bad, big dog. But true story, you know what I'm saying? You muted yourself, so I can't hear shit you just said. You ain't deserve to say it. Guys don't like ugly. It look like you went the fuck in real quick.
I was just saying that once again, the views expressed by Fred Scott are only Fred Scott's. They do not represent what's happening. They do not represent Brad Robbins.
I get you loved it. It was a great job to have in young years.
I worked in the games department. My job was dope. I can't speak for the people working in them 190 trillion degree air fryers for French fries and fried cheese. I can't speak for them folks, but working in the games department, that job was smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You know what I'm saying?
It was smooth for you because I know a cat who it wasn't smooth for. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it just depends. But on the back end, you know what I'm saying, some employees ain't good to be there either. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean,
hey,
if you look at the tactics, it's plantation tactics. They got a whole bunch of y'all. Each one of y'all picking cotton. If you disagree, you ain't got no job. You ain't finna have no housing. Like, you gotta go home to your mama for the summer. It's a wrap. Only difference is plantation style. You want to go home to your mama. Yeah.
I think that's a good spot to end it right there.
Hey, I'm just saying. Yeah.
If you like what
Hey, bro, here like it's a wrap.
Follow us on social media at What's Happening. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The way it's spelled on your phone, WHUSHATTNIN. Follow Fred at Mr.Humble_beginnings on Instagram. You can also follow him on Facebook. He has 1 trillion followers at this point. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. Brad Robinson 1986. Twitter is just Brad Robinson 86. Everything else is 1986. Follow me, follow Fred, follow the show. Follow us on your preferred podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us there. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Love is a verb, so if you like what we do, share the show out with a friend, with a bunch of friends to help us grow the show. I know we've had a lot of guests this last, 4 or 5 weeks. We had AG2G, we had Mike E, we had Nina and Reggie. We've been giving y'all a whole lot of heat these last few weeks. I hope y'all don't mind us just going back to just the original 2, just the homies. But we got more heat for you guys the rest of the summer. And I mentioned this before a few months ago, but our 1-year anniversary is coming soon, and I want to do an Ask Us Anything episode. So if you guys have questions you want to ask us regarding anything, ask us anything. Message us, slide in the DMs on Facebook. Fred and I both have access to that. Or send us an email, what'shappening@gmail.com. I ain't got nothing else. I think we done, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna add something too, and I think I forgot it. It was something right before you said something about to ask me anything. I was can't even think of it. It's cool. Maybe for the next episode. Oh, never mind. I ain't even gonna do it to you. We'll let it ride to the next episode.
Okay.
I low-key want some input about it. I know you kind of in the ups and downs about having a second, what's happening show. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll talk about that off air. Now I gotta edit. All right, y'all be smooth. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.